Phoenix Suns looking to keep their season alive against the Denver Nuggets, led by that dude, Nikola Jokic. No DeAndre Ayton, he's out with a rib injury. A scratch before Game 6, as you see Kevin Durant greeting Isaiah Thomas pregame, and I don't know if it was something on Isaiah's hand. I don't know, but Durant and Booker just went ice cold. Durant just 2 for 8 from the field. He had 11 points. Booker not too much better. He was 4 for 12 with 11 points in the first half, and let's just say Jokic and the Nuggets were a tad bit better. How about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope finishing off a beautiful dime from Jokic? In transition, it's more KCP. Nails the three. This one got ugly and quickly. You see the Nuggets already on a 13-0 run. We're still in the first. That's 42 points as the Joker puts a cap to an ugly quarter for Phoenix. A great one for Denver. Second quarter was pretty much the same type of time. Jamal Murray now running the show. He nails the jump shot and then hits a beautiful behind the back pass on Jock Landale, who got the start in Ayton's absence. Jokic with the finish. Now Jokic in a given move. He gives it back to Murray. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nuggets put up a whopping 81 points. Look at this beautiful finish from MPJ. An 81-point first half from Denver's got them sitting pretty. They led it by 30 as we went into the locker room. Phoenix, I'm sorry, but your season's over. Yeah, it's over. Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Jokic cap off what ended up being a quick second half for them. They were winning by so many. Jokic, with his 11th playoff career triple-double, becomes just the third player in NBA history to average a triple-double for an entire series. He goes 32, 12, and 10. Murray adds 26. Cam Payne added 31. Cam Payne added 31 to try to make up from the bad play of Booker and Durant. To no avail. The Suns have been eliminated. What's up, everybody? It's yours truly, the one and only Hoops FERRO. You see, KD, this is what happens when you stay with one team. You allow the coach to build a roster that's conducive to your talent. You got chemistry. We're going to get into Durant more in a second, but if you're enjoying the great quality content, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified when your boy FERRO drops more great content. Now, enjoy the rest of this video. It is a classic.
Porter. Wild shot, but everything's falling. Why not that one for Porter? Denver's got 75 in the first half.
So last year it was the Dallas Mavericks that had the Phoenix Suns down 30 at the half. This year it's the Nuggets that were on the same type of time in the second round. Nuggets had the Suns down 30 as well. Last year LUKA, this year Jokic. Yeah, man. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. I had the Phoenix Suns winning this one in 6. Thank you, Phoenix, for making me do something that I normally don't do, and that's be wrong. I do not like being wrong. Sometimes I get them wrong, but more times than not, I get them right. And I was wrong to pick the Phoenix Suns. I was dead wrong. For the most of this series, it was pretty much controlled by Denver. In the second halves, when we were in Colorado, the Nuggets won those games handedly. In the second halves of these games, we were in Arizona, at least 3 and 4, they were close. And in Game 6, the Nuggets blew it open. Yeah, man. Well, first off, I want to do this. I want to say this about the Nuggets. I thought overall Jamal Murray really played well the last couple games of this series. I do want to give him credit. I thought Jamal played much more conducive to a Denver Nuggets style of winning. Obviously, everything looks good when things are going your way and the ball's going down the net. I do want to give him credit. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope deserves some credit as well. I just think he's moving well. He's just moving so agile right now. I mean, he's not old, but he ain't a young pup either. He's just moving really well around the court. I just want to give him some credit as a role piece for the Nuggets. And obviously, the guy that deserves the most credit, ladies and gentlemen, In the first round, the best players were Jimmy Butler and Devin Booker of the playoffs. In the second round, the best player has been Nikola Jokic, and it's not even close. It's not even close. He's the only guy you can say in the second round of the playoffs didn't have a bad game. He's the only guy you can say that about. I don't care who you bring up. Everybody else had a stinker or a game that did not live up to their expectation. Not Nikola Jokic. He pretty much brought it every night. The second round average, a triple-double. That's phenomenal. He's been the best player of the second round, and his Nuggets team has benefited from that greatly. Now, we got time to talk about Denver. They're moving on to the Western Conference Finals. That will kick off on Tuesday. It'll either be the Lakers or the Warriors. I do want to say this quickly before we shift to Phoenix. If I were the Nuggets, I would be rooting for the Lakers, actually. Now, you want the Lakers to win in 7 games if you're a Denver fan. So you're rooting for probably the Warriors to win tonight and then Lakers win in San Francisco in Game 7. I think the Lakers, if you're a Nuggets fan, the Lakers are a better matchup. I still think the Warriors, coming off what they did to Denver last year in the first round, that mental edge that they got on the Nuggets. Even though I know Murray wasn't playing, I know MPJ wasn't playing, I understand that. I still believe there's still some mental games to be had there. If the Warriors are able to get over the Lakers hump, then that probably means they played some really good basketball in games 5, 6, and 7, right? So I'll just leave it at this. I think the Nuggets should be rooting for the Lakers to win. They probably wanted them to win in 7 games, so they're on the least amount of rest for Game 1 that will be in Denver, Colorado, no matter what, because your Nuggets are your proverbial 1 seed. Now, what I want to do with the rest of this video is quite simple. I want to talk about Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and the Phoenix Suns. Also, throw Chris Paul in there. Phoenix, y'all got some questions this offseason. I just called Chief. Hold on, let me call him again. Sometimes Chief don't be answering. Hold on, y'all. I got to call Chief. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. I'm calling Chief. Hey, Chief. Did you watch that Denver Nuggets Phoenix Suns game last night? From Phoenix's perspective, was that it? What'd you say? You said that wasn't it? Okay, got it. I'm sorry for calling you so early. Yeah, I just called Chief, y'all. Chief wanted me to tell the Phoenix Suns that wasn't it. That was absolutely awful from all parties involved, not named Cameron Payne. What was that? Another closeout game for Devin Booker in which he just doesn't have it. Booker, you have been talking noise all series long, and rightfully so. All playoffs, you've been a man amongst boys. Well, now you look like a boy again in Game 6, and you ran from the media? Devin, you didn't talk after Game 6? What were you afraid of? When things are going well, you got everything to say. When things are going bad, you run. Last year was LUKA. This year is Jokic. Next year, who we in line for? What was that about? Come on, Book. As great as you've been playing, everybody's been championing you. I came out and said, yo, this dude's got to walk into next season as the best shooting guard in the league. And you going to give us that Game 6 and not say nothing afterwards? That's embarrassing, Book. I know Chris Paul ain't do you no favors, but that's embarrassing. And speaking of Chris Paul, let's stay right there with him, right? I'm getting comfortable now. CP3, 18 years, no rings. I still think he's a great all-time point guard. But those days of having him on that top 5, for me, point guard list, those days are over. Yeah, those conversations are done. When his team needed him the most, he crumbled. When his teams have needed him the most, since he started this Phoenix run, something has went wrong. And I still believe, as Chris was, I guess, apparently going to give it a go for Game 7, I still believe that 4-game stretch against the Milwaukee Bucks in the finals, that was Chris Paul's career. That was it. You could talk about last year against Dallas. You could talk about this year against Denver. The reality is Chris has been hurt the last couple years. The one year he was healthy in the right time of the year was in that finals against Milwaukee, and he just didn't have it. And I know people are going to say, well, Chris was hurt. He gets a pass, you know. Chris played for a game and a half of this series. Injuries are part of the game. And when he was out there, he did not look like he would have any impact. As a matter of fact, Phoenix looked better oftentimes without Chris than they did with Chris in this series. I mean, maybe things would have changed if Chris would have got a chance to play in Phoenix. Maybe. He is a guy that, learns on the fly. He's one of my favorite players of all time. But I don't know. I don't have any evidence that supports that. What I've seen now for 3 straight years is when you put a guy that's better than Chris Paul on the court, Giannis, LUKA, and now Jokic, you can make Chris Paul fold. You can make Devin Booker fold. You can make DeAndre Ayton fold, which was obviously a last-minute scratch. He had a rib injury. I mean, obviously, I can't knock a man for being hurt. He say he was hurt. You say he was hurt. Was he hurt the entire series, though? There are a lot of plays floating around on Twitter where DeAndre Ayton is just kind of hanging around out of bounds as Jokic is getting an easy tip-in deuce. DeAndre Ayton will be traded this offseason. I still don't understand why the Phoenix Suns opted to give him an extension. I don't think he understands why they opted to give him an extension. They now have his contract, and it will be a tradable asset for them this offseason. They have to move DeAndre Ayton. He makes absolutely no sense on their roster. A trade I threw around on Twitter, I'll say it again. Why not call Minnesota and see it? First, you see if you can get your hands on Karl Anthony Towns. First, that's what you do. That probably will be unlikely. Then by the way, the Suns have a new owner in Matt Ishbia, who's very aggressive, is going to pay some big-time luxury taxes from everything I'm hearing to make the Phoenix Suns a winner, to bring their first championship there. So if you can't get Karl Anthony Towns, as expected, to be gauged in a trade from Minnesota, then you come down to Rudy Gobert. And I believe a DeAndre Ayton for Rudy Gobert trade makes sense for both parties involved. Minnesota, they can acknowledge already that it's not going to work between Rudy G and Cat and the rest of these guys. It's not going to work. It doesn't make sense. I just heard Cat on the podcast yesterday say he's shocked that he's not playing center. Nobody told him that. As a matter of fact, he said he changed his whole offseason. You're not talking to one of your better players about the moves you're making? Let's fix that. With Ayton and Towns, it really doesn't matter. 4'5", 5'4", they about the same style of player anyway. Cat's better, but you get what I mean. So you could clean up a wrong and just make that Minnesota team so much faster by bringing in DeAndre Ayton. And then on the other end, you give some defense. I think Chris Paul and Rudy Gobert will play well together. Rudy G really only wants to catch lobs. That's what Chris wanted Ayton to be. Ayton wanted to be more than that. He wanted to be a post presence. He wanted the ball 20, 25 times a game. Rudy ain't going to complain about that. He'll come in, grab rebounds. He'll block some shots. He'll do all the little things on the court for the Phoenix Suns. That's a trade that Monty Williams, if he's even around, by the way, because I don't know about his future. There's 2 straight postseasons blowing a 30-point lead. I don't know if the Suns want to move off of him because he's a really good man right now. But the reality, the proof is in the pudding. He ain't been good. That's 2 30-point blowout losses in Game 6. And Monty Williams also blown a 2-0 lead in the finals in his last 3 years. He ain't doing it, bro. Just being honest. And last but not least, I saved the best for last. Oh, Kevin Durant. Oh, boy, KD. Yeah, look, Durant is an all-time great. The only reason why we're even having this conversation is because he is an all-time great. But let's be clear. When Durant won a couple championships in Golden State, we started to have the conversation of this dude being closer to 10 on the all-time list because of his innate ability to score the basketball. It was like, yo, this dude might be able to do this for 10 more years. That was around 2018. Obviously, things changed. KD got hurt. I still don't think he was ever that guy after that injury. I think that really was the cutoff of his, like, legit great prime. He gets hurt, misses a year. He obviously makes the decision to go to Brooklyn with Kyrie, an awful decision. But we gave Kyrie Irving a lot of blame. And I still think Irving was the biggest domino, that didn't work right in Brooklyn. But, I am saying this. This is FERRO talking. Kevin Durant deserves a lot more blame than we initially gave him for what went wrong in Brooklyn. Because Kevin Durant got another crack at it with 2 more all-star caliber guys. You can really say 2.5 if you include Aiden. And it still went down the drain. And like, no disrespect to Kyrie, he's a phenomenal basketball player. Devin Booker was on another level this postseason. He had a bad game 6, but overall, Book was on another level this entire playoff run. And sometimes Kevin Durant showed up. Sometimes he didn't. I didn't think he was that good on the road, especially in Denver. Kevin Durant had a pretty lethargic game 1, 2, and 5 in this series. And the fact that Phoenix couldn't get one of those 3 games pretty much did them in. And by game 6, their team was just shot. Their team was just physically depleted. And I think Kevin Durant deserves a lot of blame for that. You demanded a trade last offseason from Brooklyn. You say, yo, I got 2 destinations I want to go. Miami, Phoenix. Brooklyn says, we ain't trading you, bro. The market ain't really bearing for that right now. They bring you back. You ball out. Nets look tremendous. The Nets come to you, say, yo, bro, we got a trade finally that we think will make sense for us. KD, you could have said, nah, I don't want to go after the Kyrie Irving trade. You wanted to go. You thought that you still was on the wave of get me out of here and get me somewhere else. You left Brooklyn as a solution. You enter Phoenix. Now you're a problem. He was not a solution to the Suns' issues. He was not. He didn't captivate that team. All I saw was great Devin Booker and good Kevin Durant, not the opposite. Where was his game where he just took over? He ain't good for a game. Hell, they got to 7 games in the playoffs last year in the second round against the Dallas Mavericks. They were actually 1 game worse this year. Again, obviously, Chris was hurt. A went down game 6. I'm just saying they got to game 7, all things considered last year. They got 1 game worse this year. And the same result in the final game on their home court, they got their ass whooped. Now Kevin Durant is a part of this. And I can't just say it's all a Phoenix thing because Kevin Durant got blown out in the first round of the playoffs against the Brooklyn Nets, against the Boston Celtics last year. And I'm going to be honest with you. There were moments, not the entire series because Devin Booker was playing out of his mind. There were moments, if you look closely at this series, especially those games in Denver, where this series did resemble that Brooklyn Nets Boston Celtics first round matchup last year, where Denver just got to KD. They just got to him and continued to harass him and force him into 5 turnover games, 6 turnover games, just like Jason Tatum and the Celtics were able to do last year. There was a little bit of overlap. They sent heavy pressure his way, and like a quarterback that ain't going to get hit, KD folded. Oh, man. The legacy of Kevin Durant has been impacted greatly. Those days of comparing him to guys like LeBron and Steph are over for me, and they're not coming back. This man has loaded up on stars, loaded up on stacked teams, and if you remove the Golden State Warriors from his career, he has failed. That man found love once. Nobody said God was going to give you love twice. He had a great. He left. He had Steph Curry and Steve Kerr in their primes playing and coaching respectfully. And he decided to say, nah, I could get it done elsewhere. And he went and joined it, Kyrie. And we gave Kyrie all the blame for that. We even gave him a pass for that. Now, Phoenix, you with Devin Booker, you telling me you can't win a second-round matchup? With the way Book was playing? You didn't hold up your end of the bargain. You didn't put the Suns in position to win a road game. Oh, man. You know what that tells me? If Kawhi and the Clippers were healthy, the Suns were going down in round number 1. It took Kawhi and Paul George being hurt for the Suns to advance past the first round. And for them, you know, they just didn't have health on their side in the second round. And beside that, though, Durant wasn't special in the second round of these playoffs either. And it's another stain to his legacy. I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns as a 2-year window. So this was year, I say half year 1. So I'm going to give them a full year next year into the trade deadline the following year. to figure this out. Not looking so great though right now.